Peter Parker is walking through New York City when a random family calls out to him, asking if he can take a photo of them. Peter agrees, and the head of the family hands him a camera. But just as Peter reaches for it, another hand snatches the camera away. "Gimme that." You already know who it is. Of course, it's Wade Wilson. Deadpool turns to the family and shouts, "Okay, folks, say, Deadpool is the greatest of all time." Before anyone can process what just happened, Deadpool snaps the photo himself, hands the camera back, and walks off like nothing happened. The thing is, Wade is in New York because he needs to meet Spider-Man. But instead of going the normal route, he starts thinking of how to grab Spidey's attention. He heads to a hot dog cart because you know Spider-Man can't resist those. A few hours later, Spider-Man drops by his favorite food corner shop to grab some snacks. But as soon as he gets there, he notices something's off. Mr. Chang, the shop owner, is nowhere to be seen. Spidey looks around and finds a door behind the counter. He pushes forward to break it down, but it opens on its own, leading to a blood-filled room. Mr. Chang and several others are lying dead. Peter immediately dials 911. Police and ambulances arrive quickly. Peter tries to talk to the detective on duty, explaining that he was the one who made the emergency call. But instead of thanking him, the detective starts questioning him. He asks if he knew the man who was killed, and whether he had ever noticed a back room at the place or suspected any kind of side business happening there. Peter tells him straight, he's just a regular customer. He had no idea. After some more back and forth, the detective asks, "See anybody suspicious hanging around lately?" That question triggers something in Peter's head. He remembers seeing Wade Wilson just a few hours ago. Could he be involved in this? Peter doesn't wait around. He throws on his suit and sets out to find Deadpool. Not long after, he spots him, on a rooftop, casually eating a hot dog. Deadpool finishes the bite and mutters, "Sorry, couldn't help myself." Spider-Man swings in, furious. "You couldn't help yourself? You're sicker than I thought." Deadpool lights up when he sees him. "Spidey, what up, baby boy? Haven't seen you since Amazing Spider-Man issue 611. Then, with a sly grin, "Out of curiosity, how sick did you think I was?" Spider-Man doesn't answer. He punches Deadpool, then another, then kicks. One hit after another. While hitting him, Spidey yells that the man who was killed had 7 kids, dozens of grandkids, and even great-grandkids. A simple, honest man. Deadpool doesn't understand who he's talking about. Spider-Man grabs his collar tightly and becomes furious. He demands to know why Mr. Chung was killed. Deadpool pauses, thinking hard. Did he actually kill someone today? He racks his brain, and nothing. He tells Spider-Man the truth. All he wanted was Spidey's attention, but Spider-Man misunderstands the motive. He stares at Deadpool, furious. "Well, you got my attention." Spidey takes him to a hidden safe house, ties him up in webbing, and hangs him upside down. He tells him the cops are on their way but wants answers before they arrive. While fighting, Spidey had noticed something strange. Deadpool didn't fight back. Deadpool calmly explains that he just wanted to study Spider-Man's moves, thinking that if he learns them, he might be able to do what Spider-Man does. But Spidey doesn't believe him. He accuses him of killing an innocent shopkeeper, something he would never do. Deadpool stays firm and says he didn't kill Mr. Chang. Spider-Man doesn't believe him and turns to leave, still convinced Wade is responsible. Just then, Spidey gets a call. It's Robbie Robertson. Robbie tells him that, earlier today, a man with a scarred face came looking for Spider-Man. The guy begged Robbie to run an ad with his photo, just to get Spidey's attention. Said Spider-Man could charge $1 million if he wanted, but he had to see him. Robbie refused and sent the man away, but the message was clear. After hearing everything, Spider-Man looks back at Deadpool and pulls him down from the web. He tells him to leave New York, but Deadpool refuses to back down. He insists on helping if Spider-Man is going after the real killer. Spider-Man hesitates, then asks, "What makes you think you'll see something that I haven't?" Deadpool grins. "Let's just say, I have a unique perspective." And just like that, they shake hands. Spider-Man and Deadpool team up, but on one strict condition: no killing. Deadpool walks into the shop and notices a bloody mess in the back room. He looks around and thinks it's complete chaos, almost like something Spider-Man would be involved in. Spider-Man looks confused by the way Deadpool seems to blame him. Deadpool then points out that whoever caused the mess must have been bouncing off the walls like crazy. But mid-thought, he pauses for a loud burp, then casually continues, "You might not believe me, but he's a hitman who's a monkey." Spider-Man stares at Deadpool without saying a word. Deadpool can tell he isn't being taken seriously, so he explains further. He says maybe Mr. Cheng wasn't as innocent as he seemed. What if he used to be a killer? He reminds Spider-Man that Hitmonkey doesn't act randomly. He only targets people connected to serious crime. But Spider-Man refuses to accept that. In his eyes, Mr. Cheng was a good man. Deadpool doesn't argue, but he points out that just because someone is decent now doesn't mean they've always been. People change, he says, and maybe Mr. Cheng left his old life behind, but someone clearly still wanted him dead. Spider-Man isn't fully convinced and begins walking away, but Deadpool calls out to him, warning that this might not be the only target. There could be more people on the list. Spider-Man pauses and asks if Deadpool has actually seen the monkey hitman. Deadpool hasn't, but he's heard enough in his line of work to know that the guy is a legend. Spider-Man brushes it off, saying legends aren't real, but Deadpool insists. The chaos around them is enough proof. This kind of mess is the hitman's trademark. He's in New York. Spider-Man finally starts to take it seriously and asks how they're supposed to find him. Deadpool explains that they won't look for the hitman. They'll look for his next target and get there first. Spider-Man agrees to the plan, and the two shake hands, officially teaming up. Deadpool then quietly adds that he doesn't think this is just a one-time hit. That's not how Hitmonkey works. There are definitely more jobs coming. He looks at Spidey seriously. "You know of any high-profile guns for hire in New York right now?" Spidey squints at him. Yeah? I know one. You." As they go their separate ways, heading home, Deadpool suddenly stops. Something holds him back. He doesn't want to be alone tonight. He wants to stay at Spider-Man's place. Spider-Man notices and gives him a look, trying to figure out what's going on. Maybe Deadpool is scared. Maybe he feels like he could be the next target. "No, I'm really convinced that Hitmonkey is gonna blow my freaking brains out." Before he can say more, Spider-Man vanishes, classic move, leaving Deadpool behind. The next morning, Spider-Man runs into Deadpool again, but as he gets closer, his spider sense kicks in. Deadpool is pointing a gun straight at him. Without any warning, Deadpool accuses him of being Hitmonkey and demands proof. The situation turns awkward for a second, before shifting into something completely ridiculous, filled with Deadpool's usual absurdity. Deadpool steps out, wearing the most ridiculous, over-the-top costume imaginable. After a few sarcastic exchanges, they get serious. Spidey tells Deadpool about some corrupt cops who were shot last night and how they found monkey paw prints in the blood. Deadpool isn't surprised, he already expected this. Spidey then asks what their next move should be. Deadpool says he came to New York for one reason, to learn from Spidey. But Spidey points out that Deadpool is now the next target on Hitmonkey's list. Deadpool gets excited and requests Spidey to save him. After a short pause, Spidey comes up with a plan. If Hitmonkey shoots Deadpool and thinks he's dead, maybe he'll leave the city. Deadpool considers it and agrees that it might work if he's the last name on the list. Spidey begins to map it out in his head, but before he can speak, the window above shatters. Hitmonkey crashes in. Both guns locked, aimed straight at Deadpool, and in a shocking twist, Spider-Man shoves Deadpool right in front of him. Hitmonkey opens fire without hesitation, but in the hail of bullets, one shot accidentally hits Spider-Man. Deadpool takes cover, shocked. Hitmonkey freezes. Seeing he's shot the wrong man, Hitmonkey is visibly ashamed. He immediately retreats, vanishes. After the shooting, Spider-Man doesn't waste a second. He rushes and takes the injured Deadpool to Reed Richards' lab for emergency treatment. While Deadpool gets patched up, Peter also gets his own bullet wound on the arm bandaged. The moment Reed sees Deadpool, his expression turns cold, showing how much he dislikes having Deadpool around. Without hesitation, he demands that Deadpool be removed immediately. Understanding the tension, Spider-Man takes Deadpool to his own apartment instead. They sit down, and begin trying to make sense of the situation. Spider-Man explains that the hitman shot Deadpool, and before he could stop him, he disappeared. As Deadpool tries to recall the events, he suddenly remembers that the Hitmonkey shot Spider-Man too. Luckily, the bullet only hit Spider-Man's arm, but Deadpool can't stop thinking about how the Hitmonkey must have felt. He figures that shooting Spider-Man, New York's favorite hero, must have actually made Hitmonkey feel guilty for the first time. And knowing how precise Hitmonkey is, he's probably never missed before. That thought gives Deadpool an idea. Without a word, he walks to the bathroom, but time passes and he doesn't come out. Spider-Man finally checks and finds the window wide open. Deadpool is gone, along with his Spider-Man suit. The next morning, the front page of every newspaper announces that Spider-Man has been killed. The news spreads quickly, and within just a few hours, everyone starts believing that New York's greatest hero is truly gone. By the next day, a full funeral is arranged in his honor. But behind this staged tragedy is Deadpool. He knows that faking Spider-Man's death is the only way to lure Hitmonkey out. The next day, Peter Parker attends the funeral in disguise as a reporter. And right in the middle of the crowd, Hitmonkey shows up. People stare in confusion. A monkey at a funeral? Suddenly, Peter shouts, creating a distraction and sending everyone into a panic. In the chaos, Deadpool appears, loaded with guns, pointed straight at Hitmonkey. Hitmonkey pulls out his pistols too. They both open fire. Bullets fly across the cemetery until Spider-Man swings in, using his webbing to slam Hitmonkey against a wall. The fight halts. Spidey calms Deadpool down and gently lowers Hitmonkey back to the ground. Deadpool growls, "Web him up, he's a killer." Spider-Man turns to him and says, "So were you." Deadpool goes quiet for a moment and gives a slow nod. He kneels beside Hitmonkey and reflects on how they didn't start out this way. But over time, they became something darker. Now he's trying to change, and he believes Hitmonkey can too. For a second, it feels genuine. But then, Hitmonkey suddenly slashes Deadpool's face and grabs one of his guns. Both of them quickly stand, aiming their weapons at each other, ready to shoot. Just then, Spider-Man steps in and warns them that if either one pulls the trigger, the guns will explode, and they'll both die. But do they listen? Boom. A loud explosion rocks the ground. Hours later, the police arrive and are shocked to find Spider-Man still alive. A detective looks around, confused, and asks about Deadpool. But Spider-Man simply shakes his head, letting them know he's gone. The officer doesn't seem too concerned and dismisses it. Outside, the streets of New York burst into celebration as the people rejoice. Spider-Man, their hero, is alive after all. 4 hours later, inside a prison cell, Spider-Man walks in. Deadpool, alive but locked up, is sitting behind bars. Spidey looks at him seriously and tells him to leave New York and take his crazy monkey friend along. Deadpool is surprised and asks if the body was never found. Spidey confirms it. He's gone, and Deadpool should be too. Deadpool stands shaking his head. Kinda ironic, isn't it? This town loves you so much they'd let you get away with murder. But me? They'd never give me credit for so much as helping an old lady cross the street. You know, I never assumed that this whole hero thing would be easy. Kinda disappointing to find out that it's actually impossible. For me, at least. Spider-Man rolls his eyes and sarcastically acts like a victim, pretending to be a lonely, misunderstood outcast who nobody cares about. But then, he becomes serious. He admits that he once had the chance to turn into someone like Deadpool, and it wouldn't have been difficult. Deadpool quickly cuts in, asking if Spider-Man really thinks it's easy. But Spider-Man stands firm, explaining that becoming like Deadpool is actually the easy path. It's the effort to be a good person that's truly difficult. After a brief silence, Deadpool softly admits that all he really wants is to be a good guy. As Spider-Man swings out the window, he leaves Deadpool with one final line. "No, you want people to love you for being the good guy. It's not the same thing." Deadpool sighs. "Yeah, it is." And with that, the story ends.